Hey there, it's the Party Pooper Guy, and today we're here to poop on merch. The merch sold by commentary channels in particular, people like Drew Gooden, Danny Gonzalez, Eddie Burback, Curtis Connor. These are just some of the biggest, but there are many, many more. They're very popular, they have a lot of influence. They react to dumb people doing dumb things. They're really, really funny and cool. I like them. Most of them also seem to have left-leaning politics. They'll make videos making fun of red pill dipshits or Christian traditionalists and so on, which is also cool. But most of them also, as you might have guessed already, sell a lot of merch. If you watch their videos, there's a decent chance they might be plugging some sick new merch that just dropped, which is not cool.
If you want to support my channel, head on over to my merch store. I just dropped new merch, wow.
People really seem to like buying it as well.
The support on the Yikes merch is insane. You guys seem to really like it. When I took it away for 6 months, I would get DMs every day asking where the Yikes store was because they wanted to buy merch.
Which is none of that is cool. That's all bad. Now keep in mind, and I cannot stress this enough, that everything I'm about to say goes for everyone of any political persuasion or no political persuasion who makes and sells merch for their brand on this or any platform. The main reason I'm addressing left-leaning commentators in particular is that they and their audience, as presumably for the most part people who care about the earth and the world, might be somewhat amenable to actually listening to me. Oh shit. Why is just this one part of my mustache that's growing in showing, and then nothing else is showing, even though it's like... Alright. Mustache shaved. Hell yeah, brother. So getting back into things, what is the problem with making merch exactly? Well, the fashion industry is really bad. Far worse than most people probably realize. It's not just bad for the people that work poverty wages to make the clothes we wear. Even more importantly, it's very bad for the earth. The global fashion industry, all told, is responsible for roughly 8 to 10% of all carbon emissions. Polyester production for textiles released about 1.5 trillion pounds of greenhouse gases in 2015, the equivalent of 185 coal-fired power plants' annual emissions. And in a world where water scarcity is a serious issue in many places, 3,250 gallons of water, almost 3 years of drinking water, goes into making just a single cotton shirt. Around 20% of the world's industrial water pollution, meanwhile, comes from the treatment and dyeing of textiles. And in China, the world's largest clothes exporter, the state's Environmental Protection Administration declared that nearly 1/3 of the country's rivers are too polluted for any direct human contact. And before you just say that that's China's fault, where do you think all those clothes are going to? Here, America. Because if we had to make the clothes here, we'd be polluting our own rivers and giving poverty wages to our own people, because our hunger to consume is insatiable. You might say I should be shaming the system rather than the individual, and that's true, systems absolutely should be held to account, but the individuals and their consumption choices fundamentally influence how systems act. And unfortunately enough, our spending habits are getting way worse over time, not better. We are buying 60% more clothes per person today than we did in 2000, but we're using them half as much. Clearly, therefore, it's not like the merch that people are selling is needed in any way whatsoever, not for the buyer, and not for the creator either. After all, anyone with a large enough fan base to make good money off of the selling of their merch is very likely already in a comfortable enough position in life between their Patreon and sponsorships where they don't have any real reason to sell their merch in the first place except for that little bit of extra luxury that they do not need. Now some people might counter that I'm being a hypocrite, that I used a laptop to make this video, for example, and that it took emissions to make it, that people worked slave labor basically to make it. And all of this is true. But the laptop actually serves a necessary purpose in my life. I need it for school, I need it to find work, I need it to make videos, I need it to help communicate with loved ones, I use it to do research and to read. And yes, I use it for a lot of more superfluous things like gaming, but it has far more utility than Drew Gooden holiday socks do. No offense meant to him. I love him, but still. This goes for pretty much everything in my life that I have. I used to buy things like board games and clothes, but I've pretty much sworn off doing that for the most part. Even most of the furniture I have is scavenged off of the road for free and in great condition. I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying that you can live very happily without just constantly buying endless products. Now, of course, I don't know about the exact policies of the merch companies these creators are working for. Maybe they say they're actually carbon neutral, for example, which is probably the best thing that a company could say. The problem is that while theoretically this sounds like a really good idea, there are actually problems with the idea of something truly being carbon neutral. I won't get too into it in this video because I don't want to bore anyone, but just one of many examples of why carbon neutral is an iffy term when it comes to conservation is that, say you buy a carbon offset that prevents companies from cutting down an acre of trees near a farm in, say, Ireland. So those companies can just choose a different acre of trees to cut down, or potentially that acre of trees was never going to be cut down in the first place. Therefore, you made no actual net change in the amount of carbon released into the world or the amount of trees that were destroyed. There's other issues as well, but long story short, with all this in mind, the far better solution is to simply not produce or buy these products in the first place. Now, this isn't to say that creators can't sell something, or that consumers can't buy things that are technically superfluous to our lives either. To the creators, go digital with the products you sell. Maybe sell custom screensavers, I don't know, funny cell phone jingles, or Discord server roles, or exclusive fan meetups, or literally anything you can think. Okay, maybe not literally anything, but you get what I mean. You guys are smart as hell, you know? Think creatively. And to the consumers, just like with the creators, we can't just switch to better companies. We need to actively reduce our own consumption habits. Obviously not just of fashion, but of everything. I have purchasing urges fairly often. I understand the rush that comes with buying things. It's really nice. But a great way to alleviate these urges in a way that doesn't hurt the earth is to buy products that are online. Buy video games, ebooks, movies, Netflix subscriptions, subscribe to cool newsletters. You know, there's just so many things you can purchase that don't actually give off emissions. And when you are buying clothing, because we all need to buy clothing, I recognize that, don't buy it from the companies that make it. Buy it from Goodwill or other hand-me-down stores. First of all, you're saving a ton of money. And secondly, you're not actually helping the brands in any way. And if you are going to buy from a clothing brand, do it from one that genuinely seems sustainable and isn't just greenwashing. But if we can stigmatize the idea of merch, if we make it something that is looked down on, then maybe more and more creators and brands will actually switch to more sustainable methods of making money. And that could make some really good change. The world doesn't need more useless stuff that doesn't really help anybody. We don't need a reason for more factories. We don't need more pollution. We need drastically less. And people might think it's unreasonably cruel to make others feel bad about their consumption habits, but that's just wrong. Part of making progress is bringing to light failures in ourselves and in our society. We should feel bad about our spending habits because that's how we start on the path to revising them. And you should also feel really good when you finally make clear and conservative efforts to actually change your habits for the better. I'm Chemical Mind. Please subscribe, leave a like, or even comment if you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.